Whether you seek community, comfort food, or you just long for the nostalgia of a small town, Columbus, Kansas proves it knows how to throw a party that has all those things and more. Joining us today on Newsmakers is Jean Pritchett with the Columbus Chamber of Commerce to talk about the annual Columbus Days Festival. Thanks for joining us, Jean.
Well, thank you for having me.
You bet. So this is an annual event. How many years has it been going on now?
This is an annual event, but each event is on its own, but we do it on the same weekend in order for everybody to have activities to do. Our Columbus Day Festival, this will be the 52nd, and our hot air balloon regatta event will be the 32nd.
Wow. And you started that event, right? The hot air balloon? Tell us about how that started.
With the approval of our board. We have a very good board, and it was a suggestion, and they said, try it. The first year we got nothing off the ground because of bad weather, and they didn't want to stop, so it's just grown since then.
Mm-hmm. And you started it because you had a background in aviation, correct?
My background was in aviation and in the tourism industry, which I had worked in both before moving back to Columbus.
Mm-hmm. And how long have you been in Columbus?
I grew up there, then I left after I went to college and went and worked with the airlines and all, and then so I've been back 40 years.
Okay, well, it's a great small town.
It is. It's very nice. There's lots of things to do, and we're still close enough to the city, Joplin, Pittsburgh, easy drive to Kansas City or Tulsa for stuff.
So why hot air balloons? What got that?
I think because with working in that industry before, I had this, if it flew, I wanted to be in on it. And I had met a pilot, a woman pilot, and visited her about it as to what we needed to do or what it would take to put one on, because there was none in this area, and there still isn't any in this area. So she helped me get the first one started and all, and then from then it just moved on. Our pilots, we have had practically all of our pilots have been coming for at least 20 to 25 years. I can only take 20 to begin with and all, and I think just maybe 4 years ago we had a couple of openings that we added 2, and those pilots now are still coming. They haven't retired or anything.
Wow. And you said that the pilots, there aren't enough hotel rooms, obviously, in that area for that many people. So what do you do for the pilots?
For our pilots, we put them in private homes. And also they stay with families. They have a host, what we call a host family, and they stay with them, and all of them have become families of the family they stay with. I mean, we have pilots that have come back for weddings, for baby showers, for graduation, and all. They've just become family, and they love it. Of course, when the first time they come, you have that leery feeling about what am I going to get into.
Right.
But after one time, they're hooked.
Yeah, it's like a home away from home, kind of.
Yes.
Almost like Airbnb, the way that all started. Carthage, I think, their Marion Days Festival, they have a lot of families that come back year after year, so it's a good feeling.
Yeah, it makes it nice. They come back, they know the community, they made all kinds of friends in the community, you know, and such.
And how has it changed over the years? Has it grown?
It has grown tremendously. It was started 52 years ago. Some students at our vocational school. There was no celebrations in Columbus, at my understanding, and they thought that Columbus needed to do something especially for Columbus Days. So they went to their instructor, and so they started it, and that first year all they did was have a bean feed, a free bean feed downtown on the square. And then they grew it for several years, and then they turned it over to ask if the chamber would take it on. So then our chamber and our board took it on, and they've grown each year. They try to add a new activity each year in that weekend and such to make it interesting for everybody.
And so there's a lot of stuff that happens.
There's all kinds of activities that go on in most of them go on Saturday, but we do have events on Friday evening after or before the glow and such for it, and then again on Sunday morning.
Talk about the glow. What is that about?
Oh, the glow, if you've never seen a glow, it is one of the most beautiful things that you'll ever see. All the balloons take the field shortly before dark. We usually get them on at dusk, maybe 6:45 or so, because we have to do a pilot's briefing first and all. And they go ahead and take the field and prepare to get the balloons upright, but they're just tethered. They stay up usually 30 minutes or so till it's pitch dark. But they'll all hit their burners at the same time, so you have this gorgeous glow that's coming from the burners.
Yeah.
That glow through the envelope of the balloon and such. It's really a gorgeous sight. We allow all of our people, visitors and such, they can go out on the field, they can walk around the field, they can get up close to the balloons, they can ask the crew, the pilot and all questions if they're just not particularly busy at that particular time and all. So it's really interesting to our visitors because a lot of them you don't get that possibility to visit with someone, but you can actually see what it takes to get one of these huge balloons up.
Yeah, it's a big skill.
Yes, it is. It takes several people to get it. I mean, they're heavy.
Yeah. And so the people who fly them, they have their own crews, or how does that
Some
work?
of our pilots will bring their crew with them because their crew wants to come, because so many of our pilots have heard about Columbus and how fun it is, such a good time that they have, that they bring their crew with them, and a lot of them stay with that same host family. I had one host family that the pilot came and he brought 11 crew people with them and their families, and they all stayed at this they brought their sleeping bags and slept on the floor.
That's funny.
And such. So, it's really fun for them.
Yeah.
But if they don't, we provide crew. I find crew. Usually most of them will take 6 to 8 crew people that will help them get it out, get it set up. Then they follow it once it's in the air, and then they're right there to help get it down, pack it all up, and bring it back.
And how far do they fly from Columbus, like when they do this?
It varies and all. We've been known to fly across into Oklahoma, up to Big Brutus. We've had them fly to Big Brutus and then land up there, or fly on into Crawford County and set down in there and such. Usually they fly, depending on whether if on morning flights, or especially on Saturday morning flights, it might be a little shorter because they really want to get down and packed up and back to town. They like being in the parade.
Oh, right.
And all, which used to just blow my mind. But it varies. It depends on how fast the winds are going that morning or evening as to how far they go.
So they have put the balloons in the parade?
Not up, but they will drive in the parade. They will have it either in their trailer, or they'll run down, they'll go to the car dealership and borrow a pickup and put them in the back of the pickup and just hit their burners.
I got you.
Where the burners are hooked on.
So the balloons are actually up.
The balloons are packed away, but they just use the basket and the burners on it. And all, because they'll go down. We have one pilot that brings hot dogs, and he'll cook his hot dogs over the burner and then hand the hot dogs out to the crowd and such.
How fun. Well, how much work does it take to put all of this together? It's a 3-day event. That's huge.
It is. We usually start in January, and all. We have a small committee that meets every month and all, to add activities or what they want to change or what they add and all. And then so we spend the whole 10 months or 9 months working on it, to coming up with what we want to do, what entertainment we want, and such.
And do you have the same people and vendors come back year after year?
A lot of them do. A lot of them, we have new vendors each year, both food vendors and craft or commercial vendors and such, because it does bring in huge crowds and all. So they do well. As long as they do well, they come back.
That's great. And you said the pandemic last year, what kind of an effect did it have on you guys? Because you're the only ones who didn't cancel. We're
the only ones that did not cancel the Columbus Day Festival or the balloon events in this area. And we went ahead and had ours, and we had huge, huge crowds. I think they were the biggest crowds we've ever had.
Because people were longing for that kind of thing.
People were ready to get out. It was an all-outside event. Nothing is held inside. And also they were able to get out and enjoy themselves.
And nobody had any concerns about the pandemic or the virus?
Those that were worried wore their mask. You know, Cherokee County did not have a mandate that you had to wear one. So it was up to them, you know, but they themselves took it on with the social distancing and such like that. So
but it was
we
so
had
crowded.
no problem.
Yeah. That's great. And do you think that people are ready now to even more to come back out?
I think so. I think the public, you know, they're ready to get out. They're tired of being cooped up all the time and such. So they're ready to get out and do something. And this is the greatest event because it's so unique for our area because no one else has one. You know, and so people always get excited when they see one. Well, they don't see hot air balloons flying around here on a normal basis. So
it's kind of like the blimp. You know, it's been around forever, but people are still super excited to see them.
Yes, they are. So, you know, they just come out and have a good time.
And how many balloons are in it this year?
We have 11 balloons confirmed. I have 2 other pilots that might show up, which I said, if you can make it, but they're scheduling and such. One had surgery earlier in the year, and he didn't know whether he would be. But they know that if they're able to come, they'll come.
Because it's fun.
And all. We can do up to 20 safely.
Right.
And all. I suppose we could probably do more, but I prefer the safety.
Right.
And all. I mean, when you're working with 40 gallons of propane in each one of these baskets, you know.
Sure. It could be scary if something went wrong.
Yes. Yes.
And where is it held? What location?
The balloon event is held in our industrial park, which is on South 69 Highway and Merle Evans Drive, or it's across from Crossland Heavy.
Okay. Right.
And all right on the highway, if you come down 69 or if you call it 7, whichever one you want to call it to, it's going to be right there on the east side of the road. There's signs out there. There's parking signs out there. All of our other events that we do on Saturday are all held on the downtown square, which we have, I mean, entertainment, car show, quilt show, art show.
There's even live music, right?
Live music, activities for the kids, you know, or parade and such. So
yeah, speaking about the parade, I have a friend who said, and this is the funniest story, it's kind of creepy in a little way, but she said the first time she ever went, she heard all this noise, this rustling, and she figured out it was these plastic bags that everybody was carrying around, and she's like, why is everybody carrying these plastic bags? And then once the parade started, she realized, and she said those kids went home with bags and bags full of candy, and it just makes them all so happy.
Kids come prepared because it seems like all of our entries in the parade will walk and hand out candy to everyone, and they go home with a bag full of candy.
Better than Halloween sometimes.
Yes, almost, you know, but they love it. I mean, you'll have deep, 5, 6, 7 lines deep for several blocks on each side and all. And that always amazed me with it just being a small rural parade, you know. But the turnout is huge on it. But the kids love it, and they scoot themselves. And people will let their kids, or all the kids, up in front of them so they can get the candy. Yeah. You know, even our pilots, after the first one, they learned, and they come stocked with candy to hand out.
Well, big bags of it are pretty cheap, you know, to make kids smile.
It does.
And what's the best part for you about the whole festival?
I really enjoy putting it together. It's good for the community, you know, to bring in people from outside the area. And that's where most of our visitors come from, are outside of the area, outside of Cherokee County, outside of Kansas and such. And to get their impressions of what a small community in rural America is like, you know, because so many of them come from the city and they're used to the hustle and bustle and not the slowing down, you know, of what we all move at a little slower pace. Yeah, we're all very, very busy, but not quite as busy, I guess. Or the traffic, we don't have to fight the traffic and such.
Well, it seems like some of the things that happen at these small town festivals, they're almost like a lost art, like quilting. There are still quilting shows or quilt shows at all of the farm shows and the fairs. Do you see that continuing?
I would like to say yes. I would really like to see it continue because, as you said, it is a lost art, and so many of the younger people have no idea, you know, what's involved with it and such. So hopefully, you know, we have several different classes at the school that like to participate in different things, so we can get to them, and hopefully those people, after they graduate, and gone off to college or whatever, they will come back, which a lot of people will, you know. They're gone for several years and then they return to their hometown. we'll try to keep it going or pick it up. We do have a lot of really good volunteers and a lot of young volunteers that are in the chamber that like to help with it. And I love their suggestions because they have something new and that can bring something new to the table.
And do you see that the younger generation, like your festival in particular, do you see a lot of the younger generation keeping up with doing these festivals?
Not a whole lot, but we have that opportunity with being in a small community. We can speak with them. We do a leadership class for the junior class out at the high school and all. And so I am able to do several different sessions with them and try to get through to them how important it is for them to give back to their community, because their community has supported them all through their school years, from kindergarten through high school, you know. And that if they don't step up and take it on, it's not going to be carried through. And you're always hearing when different instructors ask them to write this or that about what they like about Columbus. The Columbus Day Festival is always mentioned, that that's one of their favorite activities that goes on in the community. So hopefully some of those will want to carry on, and we try to give them, you know, try to get the kids involved now to come out and help.
And you know, small farms are going by the wayside. You almost can't succeed as a small farm these days.
Exactly right.
So FFA is a big...
Yeah, we have 2 very good FFA chapters in our county, both in Columbus and Riverton and such. And those kids do help me. The Columbus FFA chapter comes and sets up their petting zoo.
That's
and
fun.
all. And of course the little kids love going over there so they can see all those animals and such. And with being in FFA, they're really geared toward agriculture, even though there is a wide space that they can go into the agricultural field. It's not just farming and all. But hopefully they have been educated on that, what it means to keep it going and such. And we have several that their parents, and they help their parents, especially they collect the old tractors or old farm machinery and such like that.
And I just hope that love for that kind of thing continues.
I do too. I do too. It does make you wonder sometimes when you see some kids that, you know, they just don't want to do anything except maybe stay at home and such. And that,
electronics.
yes, yes. And also, hopefully we can get through to them that they will come and want to continue it.
Yeah. And one of the events is a cornhole tournament. And I noticed that there's 3 brackets of winning. And one of them said professional cornhole, or, you know, professionals. And I'm thinking, that's a thing? I didn't know you could be a professional cornholer.
Well, I didn't either. And so I have talked to the sponsors of it who puts it on. And this will be his 3rd or 4th year that they've put. So I called and asked him what he considers a professional.
Right.
And all. And his answer to me was, if a person goes to several, because it is becoming a really big thing, goes to several different events and participates in them for money, then he calls them a professional.
Well, and they can make money.
They can make money off of it.
I learned a lot of things doing these shows, and like gaming, for instance. You know, kids can make thousands of dollars.
Yes, they
and
do.
Same with tournaments like this.
And I've noticed in our area that there are several different festivals now or fundraisers that they have started doing the cornhole tournaments and such.
Probably my suggestion for next year would be axe throwing. That's huge now. You could probably even set up an axe throwing, you know, booth, and people come out and love that.
Yeah, see, I haven't seen that yet, but I will take that suggestion back.
Because there's several, Pittsburgh, Joplin, I think several of the communities have axe throwing. So
I'll
you
have
never
to
know.
check that
Yeah.
one out.
And what other events have we not mentioned? You've got a flyer. They have a flyer that we make available and you guys send out to people.
Yes, we do. And we also have a website strictly for the festival that they can pull up, which is just columbusdayballoons.com, that will give them the schedule and such on it of what's going on for the 3 different days.
And people can eat in the morning and
They can eat
pretty
in the
much
morning,
all day long,
all day
right?
long, either through the food vendors that are out, or we have a sit-down restaurant right on the square, which is always really, really busy. Plus, we have some fast foods that are fairly close to town, you know, that they can get to very easily.
And do organizations use this as a fundraiser, like the pancake breakfast or things like that? They sell.
The Methodist Church uses it as a fundraiser, but they did call me last week, and they canceled it because they couldn't get enough volunteers to help for it. But we do have one of our food vendors makes homemade cinnamon rolls, so I'm sure he'll make up for
that. Will stand in for it, yeah.
For the
funnel cake
breakfast
makers, that kind of thing. That would be great.
So, but a lot of our organizations or our different businesses take on the events and handle it from start to finish, which is a big help because you don't have to worry about it. You know it's going to be taken care of and such on that. And so really our whole community, a lot of our businesses, even businesses that are on the square, will set up a booth outside where the other booths are set up instead of opening. Their business is open, but they set up outside where it's easier to
like
reach.
Sidewalk sale kind of thing. Yeah, people travel all over the country to attend small town festivals.
Yes, we get them. We get a lot that come up from Texas.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot that come down from Missouri, several over from Oklahoma City. We've had people I know that's come all the way from Pennsylvania just to see the balloons because they've always wanted to see balloons, and that was the only one they could ever find.
Wow.
You know, and with it being in a small community, you didn't have to fight this because, you know, a lot of people, especially a lot of pilots, they want to go fly in Albuquerque, and that's great because it's the largest one in the United States. But you're fighting 500 and 600 balloons, you know.
And that one was canceled last year, right?
Yes,
you were the only ones who held it.
We were the only ones that held one in Kansas, and I don't think there was any in Missouri either.
Wow. Well, we really appreciate you coming out to talk to us about this today, Jean.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
You're welcome. I want to thank Jean Pritchett with the Columbus, Kansas Chamber of Commerce for joining us today to talk about the 52nd Annual Columbus Days Festival. It's October 8th, 9th, and 10th. This is Newsmakers on KGCS TV from the Ruth Culpin Studios here at Missouri Southern State University, and I'm Bobby Potroff. We'll see you again soon.
Welcome to this month's Nature's Calling. I'm Lucas Bond with the Missouri Department of Conservation. Known as the Show Me State, Missouri is also known as the Cave State, with good reason, as Missouri is home to more than 6,000 caves throughout the state. That number continues to change each year as new ones are discovered. Missouri's caves have been used for many things throughout history. In the 1700s, settlers used them for shelter and protection. They also relied heavily on bat guano found in caves to make gunpowder for survival. Growth in communities throughout Missouri brought new needs and uses for caves throughout the state. Some people used caves for mills, storage, ice houses, breweries, and hideouts. Some caves became business ventures and were made available as show caves. Believe it or not, more than 4,000 couples have been married here in the chapel room at Bridal Cave. Today you can take tours, get married, and have parties and even camp in some caves in Missouri. The best place to find caves and to take a tour of a cave would be on Missouri State Park's website. The underground world here in Missouri is home to 70 different types of creatures, from unique salamanders and fish, to insects, crayfish, and of course, bats. Missouri is home to over a dozen different species of bats, including the endangered Indiana bat and gray bat. Bats are unique as they are the only mammals that fly and one of the few that navigate by echolocation, a form of sonar.
Bats are the primary predators of night-flying insects such as moths, mosquitoes, and bat guano is an important energy source in cave ecosystems.
Right now, Missouri's bat population is decreasing due to the white nose syndrome disease.
White nose syndrome is a disease caused by a fungus that affects bats while they are hibernating. The Missouri Department of Conservation is contributing to research on how to manage the disease, how the disease spreads, and we are attempting to reduce the impacts of humans disturbing bats while they are hibernating.
MDC biologists are continuing to monitor white nose syndrome throughout the state. Also, there is no evidence that Missouri bats have COVID-19, the virus that is causing the pandemic. All coronaviruses that have been identified in bats of the United States are in different coronavirus families from COVID-19. Another rare and interesting cave creature that can only be found in eastern Missouri in Perry County is the Grotto Sculpin. The endangered fish species are bottom feeders and look much like the closely related banded sculpin, but they have smaller eyes, paler bodies, and other features fitting them for cave life. The Grotto Sculpin is a valuable environmental indicator. Its presence indicates that caves it inhabits have clean water. MDC biologists are still studying and learning about this unique creature's life cycle. Learn more about caves, bats, and the Grotto Sculpins at mdc.mo.gov. Thanks for watching, and remember, nature's calling. Get out and enjoy Missouri's outdoors.
Dear humans, this is an adoption campaign, but it's not for me, or Mr. Buttons, or Frank over there. It's for you, humans. This is a call to humans to adopt our movement, to adopt our cause.
This isn't just about saving one of us.
It's about saving all of us.
Thousands of lives, every single day.
It's about support for every one of us four, and sometimes not four-legged best friends, waiting to meet a best friend of our own. With Best Friends Animal Society leading the charge.
Shelter by shelter, city by city.
We can save thousands of pets each day.
Join us.
Together we can save them all.